You know, in South Africa, there's a tradition called sundowners, and I could not have picked a more beautiful occasion to partake in this great pastime. I'm looking forward to trying some fantastic wines and some amazing food here on the Delaire Graph estate. Hello, Warwick. How are you?
Good evening. Good and yourself?
Oh, I'm great. Have you been busy in the kitchen?
As usual, yeah. It's been a busy day, but it's very rewarding if you get to sit out in an area like this and look over a beautiful sunset such as we do here in this country of ours.
Yeah, I'm sure every day you walk into work, your breath gets taken away
The
here.
sunrises are the best, yeah, definitely. There's no denying that. Personally, a sunrise definitely tops off a sunset. But
Thank you.
sunsets are definitely more rewarding in certain aspects as well.
Oh, what have we got here?
So for starters, we have a 24-hour beetroot cured salmon, Norwegian salmon, and that is served with roasted chestnuts, and then underneath is a roasted port and chestnut puree, homemade savory granola. Then the little Red Bulls are actually salmon caviar eggs that we have brined in raw beetroot juice overnight. And then it's just garnished with a nice crispy piece of pancetta. And then the pickled, also sorry, I've almost forgot the pickled shimijis, which are crusted in a lemon herb crust.
It looks absolutely beautiful. Savoury granola, huh? That's a great idea.
Just to add the texture and crunch to it as well.
That's beautiful. Hello.
Hello.
What have you got for us?
This is the Delaire Graph Western Cape Sauvignon Blanc 2017. So slightly more crisper, drier style wine, good freshness, good acidity, a bit more green in nose like the asparagus, gooseberries coming through, but there's a bit of softer acidity because of the lees content, just giving a bit of slight texture to the wine there, and also softening it up beautifully.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, well I should try it then, shouldn't I?
Definitely.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Oh my goodness, it smells so fresh.
Indeed.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Enjoy.
Oh, it's absolutely lovely. You've picked the best for me. Thank you. Am I the only one eating and drinking here?
Seems like it.
I feel very self-conscious.
No, don't stress, go ahead, take it and enjoy.
Oh my goodness, it's just picture perfect. Okay, so there's our salmon.
So you'll see with the salmon, what we've done is we've, like I said, we've cured it for 24 hours. So in the cure we use a 70% ratio salt to sugar, and then we use raw beetroot juice that we've added into it. And the spices that are on there are star anise, cinnamon, bit of juniper as well. Then we actually add a gin to it. So it's a gin and beetroot cured salmon. And that's done for 24 hours. Once it's cured and we've taken it out and washed it off, we actually make a separate batch of raw beetroot pulp that we put it back into. So it doesn't carry on curing, but now we're adding more color to it, which gives it that deep red color on the outside of it, but still that nice pinky color on the inside.
I wasn't expecting it to be warm. I thought it was a cold cured.
We do take it out
lovely.
half an hour prior to we serve it. Because we don't want it to be a room temperature fish, but we don't want it to be a fridge temperature fish either. So we keep it at an ambient temperature just so that it releases more of the flavor of the fish. And the textures as well. If the fish is too cold, its texture is very tight, so in that way we're also loosening it up a bit
You're
as well.
absolutely right, it's so much softer. You know, the granola is stunning with it. What is in the savoury granola?
So inside there we've got a mix of seeds and also just raw rolled oats that have been toasted. We use sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, a wide variety of seeds that we can get our hands on. And a lot of the times we have a lot of sunflower in South Africa, and we actually had a couple on our property. So we would take the seeds from the sunflower and we'd actually dry it out ourselves and make our own sunflower seeds instead of having to go and buy it in.
Is that a lot of work?
Sorry?
Is that a lot of work?
No, not really. I think the most labor-intensive part of doing it is actually picking the seeds out of the actual plant. But I mean, as a chef, you learn quick ways to do things and make it more efficient. So it's not too bad, but it's very rewarding at the end of the day.
Stunning. And the puree, what did you say the puree was again?
So it's a roasted chestnut and port puree. So we import the chestnuts, unfortunately, we don't get them from our country.
It's divine.
But they're slow roasted with garlic, thyme, a bit of lemon in there as well, and then it's just finished off with port, which gets reduced, and then we just blitz that up and then pass it through a fine mesh sieve to make it as soft as it is.
There's a phenomenal amount of components to this dish, and yet they all really work together.
Yeah.
So tasty.
So we have put a couple of components on the dish, but every component is subtle in its own way. And you know, if you have each component on its own, it stands for itself, but once you have everything together and you combine it, it creates a whole harmonious effect in your mouth. And you know, I mean, that's what we're about. A lot of our main course dishes, we don't believe in putting too much into it. We let our protein speak for itself and our veg speak for itself. But with our starters, that's where we get really adventurous and we flair. Because, you know, that is the start of your meal. So we feel that that's how we should represent ourselves as was, by being flary with our starters, but boldy with our mains, as you'll see when we get onto the next course.
It's a credit to you. Thank you so much. This is a real treat.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Great. So lovely. This is your scrumptious ostrich fillet. That is done off with some lovely roasted onion puree at the base. You have your spinach sponge cake. Then you also have bone-marrow crumble. Then to finish it off with some roasted shallots with some beef jus. Bon appetit.
Thank you, Elias. It's a picture. Thank you.
Enjoy.
Wow, it looks stunning. Did he say bone-marrow crumble?
That's correct, yeah. So as I said before, my head chef Michael, he believes with the main courses, flavors need to be bold, they need to represent themselves. And we tend to try and add a lot of richness to the dishes apart from what there is already, which just, you know, finishes off your dish. So within the crumble, we use a panko crumb that we toast off in butter, and we add a lot of lemon and lime zest to that and a bit of the juice as well. And just before we serve it, we actually roast pieces of bone marrow until they're soft and cooked, and we toss that into that crumble that we've roasted out, and then we add that to this dish.
Stunning. It's again all the elements.
So with that, it's got the richness, but you know, the part of the lemon and the lime is just to bring that acidity to the dish, to balance and round it off, so that
Which makes sense, because otherwise it would be overpowering and
and it would just be
fat
too
content.
rich.
Yeah. I don't think my wine glass is big enough.
I can get you a bigger one. So with the beautiful dish there, I'm serving you the Delaire Botmuscope 2015 Bordeaux style blend.
What?
Botmuscope. Yes, that's a German-derived name. It actually means boatmen speak, and that's actually the name of the mountain behind us, where we source the Cabernet Sauvignon grapes from. Yes, and because the Cabernet Sauvignon is a dominant grape varietal, it obviously gets the name.
Okay.
Yes. So 5 varietals, driven by Cab, followed by Cabernet Franc, Petit Verdot, Merlot, and Malbec. So it's a well-structured wine, good vintage 2015 vintage, good ripeness in the fruit, and the winemaker actually wanted to capture that by not exposing the wine to too much oak. So there's a good balance between the oak component as well as the fruit, good integrated soft tannins, and a good overall mouthfeel. Actually adding as a base and complementing all these good flavors in the dish itself.
Thank you so much. You've sold that very well. I shall try it now. Thank you. Oh my goodness. It's just a depth there, isn't there?
I must say, our winemaker here does definitely make one of the best wines in South Africa.
Oh my goodness, that's so smooth. I could get lost in the glass, but it's so smooth. That's amazing. I feel like I've been spoiled. Okay, I have to try this.
Go for it.
And ostrich.
So,
How popular
yeah.
is that here?
So ostrich is quite popular here in South Africa. You find it quite often and around. And the advantage of the ostrich fillet is that it's actually a very lean meat. I mean, that's also why we put the bone-marrow crumble into it, to add that part of the richness. And you'll find a lot of health fanatics as well tend to lean to ostrich fillet compared to a beef fillet because it's not so fatty. There's actually no fat content on the fillet of the ostrich. And it's just, it's a rich, earthy flavor to it as well. Compared to where when you eat a piece of beef, you can taste it's a piece of beef. This is deeper than that.
Really, really delicious. What did you do with the spinach? That's really unusual.
So with the spinach, it's a bit of a modern technique that we've applied to this dish. We've taken raw spinach and we've basically just blended it up into a puree. From there, we add basic cake flour and eggs to it, and we mix it up in our mixer. We add it to a siphon gun, and we charge it with CO2, and we put it into a plastic cup, and we actually cook it in a microwave. So I know a lot of chefs, you know, I agree, a microwave for me is a crux in a kitchen. It's something you shouldn't have, and it's something I don't believe in. But if you're using it for the right kind of techniques, and the techniques benefit a dish, then I don't see any wrong in that. So in this case, we've made the spinach cake, and what you find is that the cake is a lot airier due to the CO2 that gets pumped into it. And the reason we do it in a microwave is so that it cooks quicker without falling flat and getting rid of that airiness that you have.
It is very, very creative. Most of the time you just see spinach in butter, which is delicious.
I personally
is
hate spinach, so
Well,
this is the best way for me to do it.
This is very tasty. And there's, did you say onion jus in the little
So it's a
shallots?
beef jus, but
It's a
there
beef
is onion in it. We actually use wine that gets produced on this property to make our jus. That's the very fortunate part about working on a property such as this, is that we get to use the best wines for our jus creation.
And you have little lentils here? Is that lentils?
Beluga lentils, yeah.
What are they called?
Beluga lentils. So it's called.
They're new to me now.
So they're called beluga lentils because once you've cooked them out, they actually look like
They look
large
like-
pulls of beluga caviar.
They do, yeah.
So it's almost like a black lentil. What we've done with that is we've cooked it in a very light beef consomme, and then we separately cook a mirepoix of carrots, onions, leeks, which we finely diced. And then on service, we add the two together, sweat the mirepoix off in more butter, and then we add the lentils to it, and we cook that out. And then near the end, just before we serve, we put in a demi-glace glaze from our jus, and then we just finish it off with a pinch of parmesan just to bring it all together, and then seasoning, and then we add that onto the plate.
Warwick, I have to say it's phenomenal. Absolutely
Glad
phenomenal.
you're enjoying it.
Everything just works so well together. It's really wholesome. It's quite a
Awesome.
substantial dish.
It is
And
quite,
yet
yeah.
it's strong in parts, but it's delicate in parts.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a credit to you. Gosh, the sun went down really quickly.
That it does, but it gives a beautiful view over the mountains over there. But it gets really chilly when the sun goes down here in this country. But there's still time for dessert with a bit of ice cream as well.
This is more than dessert. This is a picture, another picture. It's beautiful. What have we got here?
So, unfortunately, Michael, this is his creation. He's not here at the moment because he's enjoying his own success in the Kruger Park. But like I said, this is his creation. So what we have here is a homemade banana bread, and on the bottom is a hazelnut crumble. We've got whiskey jelly, caramelized banana puree, then there's an espresso mousse, and then the macaron is a plain vanilla macaron with hazelnut cream inside, and then the ice cream is a buttermilk and banana ice cream.
So much work, so much detail. Thank you, Rylan.
My pleasure. And to go with the banana and buttermilk dessert, this is the Delaire Sunburst Noble Late Harvest 2015 vintage. It's a Sauvignon Blanc with a splash of Semillon. This is a much more fresher, lighter, crisper style. So very elegant, very soft, very smooth, and a much more easier drinking style dessert. And actually with that beautiful lighter, fresher fruit components in this dessert, it actually accentuates all those light flavors. And also with that crisp acidity that I mentioned, cleanses the palate as well. It's not that sticky, syrupy, or too textured. So it's definitely a glass you can have, a second glass you can have.
Thank you very much. I might stick to one, but thank you.
Okay.
Looks lovely. Oh my goodness, it's so distinctive, isn't it? With the
It's a
Semillon.
beautiful wine. I
Yeah.
must say that that's actually my favorite wine on the property at the moment. And I'm not much of a dessert wine drinker, but that one, it's beautiful.
Yeah, me too. I wouldn't normally choose a dessert wine,
No,
but that's not
definitely
your
not.
sweet, syrupy dessert wine that you normally have. There's a nice bite
It's
in
light,
that, isn't there?
it's fresh, but it's got
Yeah.
that sweetness of a dessert wine to it as well.
And I'm sure it works very well with your creation, or Michael's creation. So Michael's having fun, did you say, in the Kruger?
He is, yeah. He's been away now for about a week and a half with his missus, who's actually, in actual fact, is also from Ireland. He worked a couple of years in Ireland, and that's where he met his current wife.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so they've been together for a couple of years now, and they've been living in South Africa for I think it was maybe 4 or 5 years, maybe 4 years. And he's been here at Delaire for just over 3 years. He started out here as the sous chef, and when the previous head chef left to go to a different property, Michael took the opportunity to jump at it, and they basically made him the next head chef in line, and he's been doing a fantastic job, and that was one of the reasons why I had to come and work for him myself. And I haven't regretted since the day that I've started back here.
And you get visitors from all over the world here.
We do, in fact, yes. It's also very seasonal. You know, certain parts of the year, the Americans will come through, and then the Europeans will come through, and then the Eastern Europeans will come through, and the Asians as well. So it all depends on what their weather bases are doing. We found now, during this time of the year, we get a lot of Asians coming through from Japan, China, Thailand and all of that, and Singapore. So we've got a large influx of Asians coming through, always bringing good money, and they love what we're doing here as well. They love to experience new things, and you know, especially new meats. They, for some reason, love ostrich because it's something that they're not used to back at home as well.
That's right, and yet it's all tied up in classic cuisine, so everybody enjoys classic cuisine.
A little bit modern, but with classic French techniques.
Exactly. And tell me, do you do many weddings here?
We do from time to time, yes. We actually had a wedding, a wedding dinner here the other evening. It was kind of like the pre-dinner wedding, where we catered for 70 people, set menu a la carte. So we do a lot of weddings here. I myself have seen a couple of weddings on this property. They tend to use the helipad up at the back there. And quite honestly, it is actually quite a beautiful, picturesque view from there, because when you're on that back side of the property, this is all you see, you know, and there really is nothing that can beat that, especially on a glorious day such as a wedding.
Well, I have to say, it's a credit to you and your team, and to Michael
Thank you very
and Karma
much.
and everybody working here. I've had an amazing experience.
I'm glad you
The
have.
wine has been out of this world, the food incredibly creative and oh so tasty and incredibly Moorish. In fact, I might just take this with me. If you didn't, you wouldn't miss a plate, would you?
Of course not. You're
Okay,
more than
right,
welcome
well, I
to
just
take
keep-
that
I'll
back.
keep going with
You can
this.
post it back to us when you get back to Ireland.
Thank you so much for your time.
It's
Warren.
such a pleasure.
Really
I'm glad you
appreciate it.
enjoyed it.